Monte. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Welcome to another edition of Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle here on this Thursday, November 7, 2018. Hope your day's off to a great start. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking us along for the ride. Justin Kalen, High Top Crew Chiefs Box.
That's right.
As we get closer and closer to the end of the week, looking forward to that. Lots going on this weekend. Indiana back on the hardwood tomorrow as they take on, I believe, Montana State. Saturday, and then tomorrow also, the Hoosier men's soccer team. But we'll get to all that. We've got to get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your headlines for this Thursday, November 8th, brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. Federal authorities have given the NCAA officials approval to move ahead with the investigation in college basketball probe. The Steelers and the Le'Veon Bell situation likely coming to a close. He was seen at a Pittsburgh fitness center last night, and Maryland has parted ways with the director of athletic training, Steve Nordwall, and head athletic trainer, Wes Robinson, in the wake of Jordan McNair's death. Those are your headlines for this Thursday, November 8th, brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
And welcome back. Yeah, lots going on Friday. Indiana basketball back on the court at home in Simon Scott Assembly Hall against Montana State. The soccer team, they're in action earlier that day, tomorrow at 1 up in Westfield, Indianapolis, where the men's Big Ten tournament is underway, which they are looking for a crown that they haven't won since, I think, 2013. Unbelievable.
It is.
And then Saturday, the football team was hosting Maryland in a all-important game because if they lose it, season's over. No pressure. No pressure. If you lose, you're done. It's that simple.
Yeah. Not beating Michigan.
That's
funny joke.
Yeah. Barely. Maryland's going to be serious when they come in.
Yeah.
I thought they had already parted ways with those guys you just talked about.
They were on administrative leave, but yesterday it became official. They let them go.
So they're the last guys to go.
It would appear that way.
That's
yeah.
funny. I would have thought they would have been the first.
Well, it came out that when McNair got to the hospital, he had a body temperature of 106. I think that was kind of the final straw.
Yeah. It's a very, very sad situation.
Yeah.
DeJuan Jones, big kid. I first saw him last summer when the Junior All-Stars was playing the Senior All-Stars. Well,
he's the big boy, right?
Yeah, they got to the point where they didn't have enough guys on the junior squad, so the coach was calling dudes. He calls up DeJuan, and I remember seeing him at New Albany High School. I can't remember if you were there or not.
I was not.
We were down at New Albany High School for the game, and I'm like, whoo, look at this dude. They cannot stop him. And they couldn't. But he's a better-known football player. And he's been racking up the offers.
As he should. I mean, he's 6'8", 350. He should be known for football.
Dude is just a massive man, but also what a hell of an athlete. I mean, on the basketball court, he's unstoppable.
Yeah.
You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. But I know he had a recent offer from, I think, Mississippi State, and I see now he's got one from USC. I'm gone. If I'm him, I'm like, where's the suntan lotion, baby? I'm on the way.
Waking up to freezing temperatures this morning, yeah, I'd be the same.
Oh, no. In football, if I got an offer from USC, I am gone.
Well, USC football is not what they used to be.
Yeah, but the beach is.
Yeah.
Los Angeles is. And it's still a school that has a lot of cachet. And you don't know. They might be right back. But, oh, man. Yeah, that would be a wonderful opportunity.
Is he getting basketball offers as well? Or just football?
I haven't seen. I'm sure he's got some lower level ones, but I think he's so football's where he's going to have to be.
Yeah.
We'll
I assume he's a lineman.
Yeah, but he can play about anything. I mean, if he had a little more speed, he could probably lose some weight. Be a hell of a tight end. because I know he's got hands. He plays basketball.
Yeah.
And he's got good feet because he plays basketball. So if he's got some speed, he can lose a little weight. Whew, you'll stop that load? Get that ball in his hands? Come on.
Be a beast.
Trace Jackson Davis needs more time. His decision of commitment, probably, I don't even know when it's going to take place. I'm losing interest fast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost to the point where I'm like, go get somebody else, replace him. Just start throwing offers out. Whoever takes it, takes it. I don't care anymore.
You think this is something that becomes a trend, guys, just waiting and waiting and waiting?
The big ones, yeah, because they like being feted. They like being adored. Love me, love me.
Well, the thing with Trace Jackson is he's already down to his final 3, so I don't understand the point in doing that at this point.
Oh, gotta get a better, not sure what I want yet. Got to get a better understanding, of the coaches, the styles, the schedules. Give me a break. You're a freaking high school kid, you know what? It's starting to get aggravating.
Maybe the talk of him going to IU is still aggravating him, therefore he's extending.
You know what? Fine. Go get somebody else. Fill the hole. Move forward. Yeah. I am.
Plenty of them out there.
I'm over it, man. I am over it. Yeah. It'd be great for them to have in-state talent. It would be great in a lot of ways. That's how it should be. But it used to be kids wanted to play for certain places. And if that's what you want, if it works, then do it. If it don't. But don't give me this line of crap. Like all of a sudden Tom Izzo's going to change, Archie Miller's going to change, Steve Alford's going to change. You know what they are. You know what they do. Just Google it. It's right there. Google it. You know what kind of offense they run. Oh, I want to run. What kind of offense? That stuff's already there. It hasn't changed. These coaches are not new in their positions. Been there the same for over a year. Not enough information for you, really? Okay. Bye.
I think that goes back to something you talk about a lot, and that's the millennial mindset. And I don't know that he doesn't want to play for any of those schools. I think he absolutely wants to play for all three. Hopefully Indiana the most.
He wants to be loved.
Exactly. So, who knows? But I'm with you. I mean, there's plenty of fish in the sea. Go out and get one.
I hear you. I agree. How about the Saints picking up Des Bryant?
Yeah. Finally, after not being on the team all year?
Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Says, I'll take you, man.
Don't give Drew Brees any help.
Yeah, I'm like, what do they need help with?
To be honest, that was probably the best bet I made while I was in Vegas. I bet the over on the Rams-Saints game on Sunday. They were 7 points from the over at halftime.
That was the only that would have been a bet I'd have said, hey, you did it right. I agree. That was a good one. Man, that's the two most prolific offenses in all of sports.
Yeah. That'd be a fun little matchup in the NFC Championship.
Oh, it may happen. Yeah, I watched that game. I was in Bloomington. I think it, but yeah, looking forward to it again. Iowa is a 10.5 point favorite over Northwestern right now. Ooh. Somebody explain that to me.
Is it at Iowa?
I don't care if it's in their locker room. 10.5 points over Northwestern. This is a good team. This is a good team that has played well all year. They played well in their last game against Notre Dame. So, where in the heck is this coming from?
Yeah, I'm showing 11 points.
Okay.
That's insane. That should be a touchdown game for sure. But at Iowa, maybe they're giving them a little extra nod because it's at home.
There's something there. Vegas rarely makes a mistake. If it was a mistake, the line would have adjusted considerably. It'd go up or down, but it's staying pretty much right there.
It didn't for Kentucky Duke, and we all saw how that turned out.
Well, that's because that's what they thought.
Yeah.
Now, they obviously think that here, and I don't understand why. I mean, that's screaming for a huge Northwestern bet.
Yeah.
But why? There's a reason. Vegas does what they do for a reason.
About Maryland and Indiana, it's a pick 'em.
Well, that seems exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. I think those are they're two peas in a pod. Those are two dogs fighting over the same bone.
Did you see Michigan's line over Rutgers?
They put a line?
Yeah.
Is it the biggest line in college football this year?
Maybe
Maybe not. Michigan's not a big prolific offense. They're just powerful.
I've only seen one other line this year that matched it, and it was last weekend.
48.
40. I think Clemson was a 40-point favorite over Louisville last weekend.
I'd have taken that. That's one I couldn't believe you got on.
No, I didn't
Louisville,
get on that.
That you did.
And if I was going to get on it, I would have got on Louisville. 40's a lot.
I would take whoever Louisville's playing for the rest of the year. I don't care how many points they
Probably not a bad move.
Louisville couldn't hold water if you gave them a bucket. They can't stop anything. They cannot score. They are inept. It's
Bobby,
unbelievable.
Is it bye-bye Bobby?
I can't imagine not, because the fan base has quit.
Yeah.
Because they think Bobby Petrino's quit. He looks like he's quit. It's pathetic. Louisville's got some problems. Indiana just doesn't look good. They've got different issues. Their coach isn't getting paid $3-4 million a year.
Right.
But yeah, that 10.5 or 11 point, that's just mind-boggling. You want to look at something, I want to hear John Spears talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm not understanding it. Northwestern has won 12 of its past 13 Big Ten games.
Really?
And has beaten the Hawkeyes by a touchdown in their last two meetings. But Northwestern's 2.59 yards per rushing attempt ranks 128th out of 130 FBS teams. So they're last running the ball. They cannot run the ball.
And that's not good, because Iowa's good up front, if you remember.
Yeah, but how's Northwestern? They've survived a hell of a year so far.
Isn't that sad that Northwestern consistently has a better football program than Indiana?
Its 4.5 yards per play ranks 125th. So they're I don't how in the hell they have no offense basically, but yet they're winning. They've beaten Purdue, they've beaten Wisconsin. They lost a close game to Notre Dame and a close game to Michigan. But yet this is an 11-point underdog.
I don't know how much credit you can give them for beating Purdue, though. It was the first game of the year. Purdue was not the same team that they are now.
Yeah, but Purdue wasn't as far away as people think. They barely lost those games. I mean, I think they lost 3 games by a total of 8 points or something.
Yeah, that's true.
If the line holds, it'll be the first time all year that Iowa is favored by double digits against an FBS team. How about that? They were only a 9.5-point favorite against Northern Illinois. 3.5 against Iowa State. 7 against Minnesota. 3.5 against Indiana. And 9.5 against Maryland. But yet they play Northwestern, the best team they've played in, well, that I read off of that list. And it's going to be the highest spread yet. Somebody's got to explain that to me, man.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
That's going to be something. You talked about the Feds and the NCAA. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting because I'd like to see what's going to happen with Zion, Mr. Handout Williamson. He wanted $100,000 to play for Kansas or whoever else he was trying to get, but he went to Duke for free. Just because Coach Krzyzewski asked him to. Because this is just a blip on the radar, this bribing and paying people. Just a blip, according to Coach Krzyzewski, of course. Just a blip. Just a little blip. Terry Hutchens on the program today. We're going big tomorrow. Got to do that a lot, don't we?
We do.
Todd Leary on the show tomorrow. Steve Risley on the show tomorrow. Woo! Better be paying attention. Big day. We got to take a break. We got a lot more coming up here. Terry Hutchens on the show here today. We'll be back with all that and a lot more here on Indiana Sports Beat. Coming right back after this.
Now it feels still alive. 6 to 8 years to arrive. And if you follow them, maybe out tomorrow. But if the office shut, you might as well be walking on the sun.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
Got a problem with your big truck? Kentuckiana's Premier Truck Center is here to help. For over 30 years, truck drivers and fleet operators have depended on their great service center off I-65 in Clarksville. And now you can get the same level of service, repairs, and parts selection that's been offered for generations and save on bridge tolls with their new location on the Outer Loop in South Louisville. They're an authorized Mack, Volvo, and Hino dealer and service center, but they service all makes and models of trucks. Kentuckiana's Premier Truck Center.
Today's guest is brought to you by Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when Mother Nature strikes. BrooksRoofingIN.com. Yeah, welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this beautiful Wednesday, November 7th, one day post-Election Day. I didn't win. I'm waiting to find out if Kirk Haston won. He was running for office in Tennessee in the 72nd State Congressional Office. So I'll looking forward to see if he won that and hopefully talk to him about it. Looking forward to that. But before we get to that, Indiana, of course, tipped off college basketball season as the rest of many teams last night did. And we're very fortunate that our good friend Mo Creek over in the Ukraine, former Indiana basketball player with us. Mo, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, man. How's the season going? You're still killing it, man. I'm following all your posts, and my man he's playing a guard, but he's leading this league in blocks. That just blows me away.
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. My team, we got a game tomorrow, and we've won 4 straight, so we're picking it up now. I feel like we're getting each other more, and we practices making everything perfect, and just keep building every day.
We were talking the other day. I sent you a message that said that Archie Miller would kill 3 5-stars to get you on his team because you are the prototypical Archie Miller player. Just such a hard-nosed, grinding defender, but has offensive ability. You'd be a dream for this team.
Thanks. I would really appreciate to be back in Indiana, man. But unfortunately, my time is up, and now the young ones got their time now, and I can't wait to watch them.
Yeah, they've got some young ones, and those young ones are getting a lot of minutes. We expected Romeo to start and get a lot of minutes as he is. He was actually led the team in scoring last night for his first collegiate game. 17 points in the first half on 17 minutes, so he's pretty efficient. But there's other guys that are getting minutes too. Rob Fennessy is filling in at the point guard spot and actually earning a lot of minutes, it looks like, because of that.
Wow, that's nice. That's amazing. And like we talked about last time, it's just evolving to where, talented freshmen are coming in or talented young guys are coming in and doing their job and earning these minutes, and it's amazing.
It started back when you were at Indiana. When you were a freshman, you were part of a great group as well, and you guys were getting minutes, and that didn't used to be the case back before the 10 years prior to that in college basketball. The freshmen kind of had to find their way and fight in there, but that's not the case anymore, man. It's every year there's a new group coming in that can take your spot.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't know what to expect when I came in. I thought I was going to be treading behind, the older guys. But then when I came in and was starting and was getting a lot of minutes, I was like, wow, it's about who works the hardest and who can do the job the best. And, a lot of these coaches now are starting to see that. And it doesn't matter what age you are, just look at the game yesterday with the Duke and Kentucky game. All them freshmen is out on the floor yesterday. They getting the job done. It's just amazing what the game has evolved to.
Absolutely, and you see guys like that have come through Indiana, like Victor Oladipo, who did not have the pre-publicity that, say, Romeo's gotten, but obviously Victor Oladipo, a huge talent, an unbelievable talent. There's been lots of guys that have come through like that, the Gordons and things like that. But when you got a guy on your team like that that he may not, like he didn't have a great shooting night last night, but he's going to score. What differences does that do for your team when you got a guy that can just flat score the basketball?
It's amazing to have, when you got the ultimate weapon like that where you just can flat out score the basketball, it just makes everybody else better. It relieves everybody else's stress. And, we was fortunate to have a couple of those guys, like Cody, at any given time, we give it to him in the post. It was a bucket. And with Victor, he gets hot, and he's the ultimate scorer. He's a driver and a scorer. And if Jordan got hot behind the three-point line, it was just, we just had stress relievers, and that's what made us great. And, these teams now with Romeo and, a lot of the other guards that can flat out score, they'll be stress relievers. Maybe it won't be Romeo's night, but it might be somebody else you don't really even think about having a good night. And it's just, you just really want to be that stress reliever for a team. And when you are that, you building your resume, more minutes and everything.
Absolutely. And like I said, there's a lot of these guys that are getting some unexpected minutes. Demezy Anderson is another one, a freshman that can be a great three-point shooter. The game before last, the exhibition they had, I think he hit 4 out of 5 threes, but last night 1 of 3. But just another example of a young guy coming in that's trying to get some minutes. They had played a lot of guys last night, but there was 3 that weren't playing yet. We didn't get to see Race Thompson, who is a redshirt freshman, so he's still a mystery. But also Al Durham and Jerome Hunter, another freshman that we have not seen that has very promising as well. So the amount of weapons is unbelievable. A team that has that much depth, obviously there's some positives, but there are some negatives too. What are some of the negatives with having so many, 10, 11 guys that can actually play minutes?
It's just that time difference. It's only 40 minutes in a basketball game, so now you got to really figure out how to maneuver all these guys that can do the absolute same thing, but now it's like, okay, who can I put on the floor that connects the best, or who can I, who's going to play the hardest at all given times and everything like that. So, so for the young guys that actually listen to the show and, just taking that into consideration that, every time you're on the floor, either practice or a game, you got to go out there and play with your all, because you don't know you don't know, like, when you're going to be back in, or you don't know, like, what the coach is thinking, so you don't want to give a coach any doubt. And that might be the most detrimental thing to having too much depth. It's just like, who do I put in at certain times?
Absolutely. And then as a player, and I'd say that has to be something that you experience at the professional level, because the guys are just better across the board there. But in the practices, what's the mindset? Are you after every day saying, I've got to earn minutes, so just pushes you further and further?
Yeah. Here, I didn't start my first couple of games. And it wasn't that I wasn't doing my job. I don't know if he was expecting me to do more or something. But playing the point guard spot for the first time in my overseas career, I had to learn how to do it. And now I'm leading my league in assists. So it's just a different feel. And I started my first game a few days ago, and It felt good to be out there with those guys, but even with me being the sixth man, I didn't take it as, oh, I'm not starting, so I don't really produce. It may have just been, the certain situation, well, hey, you come off the bench, you got firepower. We have firepower off the bench. It could be certain different things, and it ain't about really who starts the game. It's about who finishes the game. And, for me to be finishing the games, it was really well.
Exactly. I agree with you. And, again, you're playing point guard. Let me mention, he's leading his league in blocks at point guard, no less. That's just blowing my mind. Those guys that bring that ball to the court must look at you and say, oh, hell no. And they see you're down there and they say, I'm throwing this thing somewhere else.
The crazy thing about me leading in different categories is this. It did surprise me that I was leading in blocks at one point, and I would just get the sneaky blocks. Like if I was just in help position, I would try to go for the block it. I would block it. I have long arms and everything, and then you go on the internet and see, well, I'm number one in blocks. It was crazy because you got a lot of big men in this league that's very physical and that's capable of blocking shots. But it's like, okay, a guard that I usually don't get blocks like that. I get steals of anything. But now I'm leading in blocks. It's amazing.
When do you see that at first after you get done laughing going, oh, man, really? But then does that just spur you on more? Because like you say, I'm getting those sneaky blocks. That means you got a nose for the ball that you're always hawking from a defensive side. Does that even just push you further to say, oh, hell, I want to lead this category now?
Yeah, because, you got to think about it. When you playing at the professional level and then you're trying to play at a higher level come next year or try to be at the same level that you are in this year, you want to lead your league in categories that is a part of your spot. So if you're a scorer, you want to lead in scoring. If you're a point guard, you want to lead in assists and scoring. You want to have that assist turnover ratio down, and it's a bonus for me because that's what the coach wanted from me, to lead in assists and to lead in scoring. And now I'm in top 10 in 4 categories: scoring, assists, steals, and blocks. And to have it on the offense and defensive end is amazing.
And not only that, you were just recently named Player of the Week a couple times back-to-back, right?
Yep.
My man, you're killing it over there. Maurice Creeks, who we're talking to.
I'm just doing my job to the best of my ability. And, everybody's doing their job too. And being a stress reliever for me, and it's making me a better player every day.
Mo, is basketball as fun right now as it's ever been for you?
I think it is because I have just that much more freedom just to play. Because like I said, I never played point guard. So when I was always playing the shooting guard spot, I was always the one coming off the screen looking to score. But now when I'm playing the point guard spot, I can find my spots, but I can also find others. And I think that's the most important thing that I've learned this year is that I got other guys that are absolutely talented, and they make me look good, and I just want to make them look good as well. And we're coping together at a high level right now. Like I said, we just won 4 straight, and we're building on. We're going to build on tomorrow as well, make that in 5 games straight. And, we're just trying to build into a championship team, and I think we're really talented, and we can get this championship this year.
Talking with former Hoosier Maurice Creek. Mo, how long does the season last over there in the Ukraine? How long you got before you're coming back over stateside to Indiana?
Well, the regular season ends March 15th, and I think the playoffs will start maybe a week or 2 after that, going into April. So I'll probably be done around April time, and then I'll come back maybe mid-April, late April, and I'll definitely be back around in the Indiana way because, like I said, I need to get up with a couple of people and work out. I know, like I said, Taylor Ware, one of my former teammates, he's training kids now, and he wanted me to come out there last year, but I just couldn't. And I will be out there this year. I wanted to get out to a game, but just because of the scheduling and everything, I couldn't. I'm definitely going to work on that for next year, though, because I haven't been to an Indiana game since ever, honestly, and I played there, and I still want to support these guys and make sure that they know they got my support.
And I'm sure they look forward to it, talking to Maurice Creek. And one of the last things, Mo, is are you able to follow with this time difference? I know you're 7 hours in front of us. It's actually an afternoon over there in the Ukraine. But what do you get it to? How long does it take you to, like last night's game for Indiana? Obviously, you were probably asleep, didn't get to see it. They won by 59 point, whatever they won by 104 to 55. Crushed Chicago State. So, but how long do you get to follow up on the games? Are you able to keep up with them over there?
What I'll do is if I didn't watch the game, I would try to find some type of highlight towards it and see what the highlights were. But it is pretty tough, and especially when you got to focus up for your own game. So I mean, if I wasn't doing anything last night, I would have been up because I usually don't sleep at night as much just because of the fact that I'm always up, just talking to my family and friends and everything like that. And, but I had to focus up for last night, so I couldn't really watch the games last night. But now I'm sitting here watching ESPN, trying to find highlights to the games and everything. And it's just something that I would usually do. But I definitely stay up for a few of the Indiana games. I know they got some on national television, or if I don't get them there, I'll find a way to watch them.
Absolutely. You can follow us on Facebook, Indiana Sports Beat. We'll keep you posted, and also Indiana Basketball on Facebook. They'll lots of highlights there. But Maurice Creek, can't thank you enough as always. Look forward to talking to you again soon as the season progresses.
Thank you.
You bet. Keep killing it, man. We appreciate having you. Look forward to talking to you again. Maurice Creek, former Hoosier, joining us here on the program today. We got more coming up. Matt Weaver from Peaks.com. We'll talk a little football right after this on Indiana Sports Beat. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area, or just meet friends for a happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer. This hour of Indiana Sports Beat is brought to you by Brooks Roofing. Brooks Roofing is an Indiana contractor with over a decade of service. Find Brooks Roofing at brooksroofingin.com. They're probably working in your neighborhood right now.
Now in the street there is violence, and lots of work to be done.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this Thursday, November 7th. It's a Hutch Day. Terry Hutchens. What's that?
Hutch Day.
There you go. Need something to throw in there. Definitely need something to throw in there. Indiana football this Saturday, taking on the Maryland Terrapins. Coach Matt Canada, former Hoosier coach, coming in. It's do or die. I mean, there's no other way to say it. You lose, season's lost. That's just cut and dry, folks.
Yep. You
lose this game, the season's lost. You will be 4-6 at that point, with the only opportunity to go to a bowl game by beating Michigan on the road in the Big House, and then following that up with a win over Purdue. I don't see that happening.
No.
Either of them.
I don't honestly see 2 more wins. And I'm not so sure I see a win over Maryland on Saturday.
I was going to say, is there one more win?
Yeah.
Do you recall how far back it was? I said I don't know that they win another game now.
So at least 3 weeks. Wasn't that?
I think it was the Iowa game.
It might have been after the Ohio State.
No, they gave some hope after that game.
True. Yeah, it was the Iowa game.
I think it was the Iowa game when they just laid an egg. I was like, whoa. They're not. None of them are trying. Coaches aren't trying. Then in the Penn State game, they finally bring in Michael Penix. He gets hurt. They waited too late. Johnny come lately.
Yep.
Then you got him hurt. Well, they didn't get him hurt. He was just hurt.
Well, who's to say he wouldn't have got hurt earlier if they had put him in?
Who's to say he wouldn't have?
True.
Who's to say he would have beaten Iowa? Who's to say he could have beaten Michigan State? Had they been starting him from the beginning of the year, who's to say that that offense wouldn't have been rolling? That offense wouldn't have been a little more prolific ahead of the game? Who's to say? Well, I can tell you one thing. They're 4-5. They're looking at being 4-8. That is to say. I'm going to say that because that's a fact. And I wouldn't be saying this if I didn't, from the very beginning, have been on the other page. I haven't been out flip-flopping back and forth. Michael Penix should have been playing from the first snap. And I said that back during Florida International, but I wasn't very loud about it because
I don't think you were pretty loud about it.
But it was just ridiculous. And it's proven itself. The proof's in the pudding. Their offense has sucked this year.
Yeah, 4-8 off of a 5-7 season. Not good.
Off
Not
of
good at
wait a
all.
minute, keep going. Off of 3 straight bowl seasons.
Sure.
That is tick, tick, tick down, tick, tick down. That's not a good sign, folks.
What is the answer?
Oh, come on. That's easy. That's easy, man.
Is it as easy as just DeBoard?
No.
Allen too?
No. Okay. I've never called for Coach Allen to be fired. I've not, because that is not in the best interest of the program. It blows the program up. That derails recruiting. That he's doing a hell of a job on. He's a hell of a recruiter. He's just not a good head coach yet because he doesn't. Only because he doesn't have the head experience. Not because he's not smart enough. He's not. He's a great guy. I think he has a great culture going. They believe. The players believe. He was not ready to be a head coach. So it's up to the athletic director to have enough sense to see that and say, okay, well, I have to put the guys around him that can make him better. I have to give him the opportunity to succeed. Has Fred Glass done that?
No.
Absolutely not. Here's what he's done. He's like, okay, well, I'm going to put you in this position. Not only are you going to be the most inexperienced head coach in the Big Ten, the least paid coach in the Big Ten, I'm going to give you the least paid assistants in the Big Ten.
But you've got a nice stadium.
Bam. And it sure is pretty. Those empty seats, man, they look beautiful. They sparkle in the sun. Sparkle. He hasn't been given an opportunity to succeed. I don't blame Coach Allen. What, you going to not take the job? No, I don't want it. No, that's not going to happen. This is on Fred Glass. This is having the sense to know that, hey, if I'm going to put him in this position, I got to put him in a position to succeed. He hasn't. He's put him in a position to fail.
Yep. Clearly.
So that's my take on that. How good would Coach Allen be had Jeff Brom been here for the last couple of years and he was learning under him? Jeff Brom, who had already been a head coach.
An offensive-minded head coach at that.
A successful head coach. Don't know that he's had a losing record yet. Because his first year at Purdue, he took a 4-win team and went to a bowl game at IU's expense. They're going to a bowl game this year. After starting 0-3, going to a bowl game. They spotted everybody else 3 games. They gave up 3 games, and they're still making it to a bowl game. And competing for a Big Ten divisional title.
He has not had a losing record, by the way.
Didn't think so.
42-20.
That ain't bad. Of course, wasn't worth Indiana looking at. What the hell would we do with some success?
Yeah. We can't handle that.
Might have won. Might have actually had filled the stadium or something. That'd been crazy. But yeah, that just gets me revved up. It's just, I mean, I hate it. I hate it for coach. I hate it for the team. I know I mean, those dudes practice hard. Yeah. They work hard like everybody else. Coach Allen puts in the time. It is what I just said it was. It's all it is. He needs help around him. He needs people that aren't yes men. What he needed was an offensive coordinator that said, Coach, you got to go with Penix. He's the best. Gives us the best to win.
Here's my thing. Why would Mike DeBoard not do that? At his age, as long as he's been offensive coordinator?
Because he doesn't care. He's just going coasting for a job. He's getting a check.
What I was searching for.
He's just coasting his way out. The hell does he give a crap?
Right.
What? Yeah. There's that. Hit us up on the text line if you agree, disagree. Think I'm nuts. 502-414-1450.
Josh texted into the show and says, IU has the lowest paid coaching staff in the Big Ten because the anti-athletics president takes $30 million a year from the athletic department, and Fred has to cut corners.
And that is not an invalid point. That is correct. All the money they make from the Big Ten network off of IU athletics, do you think that goes directly to IU athletics? Nope. Michael McRobbie controls that. $30 million that he just talked about on that text. Thanks a lot for the text, Josh. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That money comes from the Big Ten network. They're not broadcasting the Big Ten science fair. They're not broadcasting the Big Ten geography quizzes. They're broadcasting football, basketball, the money makers, which allows them to broadcast soccer and softball and all these volleyball and all these other sports that do not in any way pay for themselves, but they get coverage anyway. And the schools make millions of dollars. But instead of putting it back into the athletic program to get it jump-started, it's put everywhere else. Now, I'm not saying all of it's put in bad places. It's used for educational purposes, and that's great. But I think that it's too much when you have the lowest paid head coach in the Big Ten and you are one of the wealthiest schools in the Big Ten. That does not compute.
Makes you wonder if Indiana had rugby, how it would be.
What the hell does that have to do with the price?
Like Robbie's Australian or something.
Oh.
He's from New Zealand, maybe?
Yeah.
He's from a place where they play rugby.
Obviously, they don't play football.
Football's frowned upon when it comes to rugby.
I'm certain of it. But it's just, that's how that goes. They should have the money. It's not that they don't have the money. They put it elsewhere. They have other priorities. Football is simply not a priority. And that's all that there is to that. There is no other story. That's it.
Do you anticipate a time at Indiana where football is a priority or is made a priority?
No, I'm not. And when I say priority, I don't mean over basketball. That is never going to happen.
Never.
But basketball doesn't need that. It doesn't matter. Basketball is its own entity. It is its own monster that you cannot stop. It is there.
But, I mean, I think you make up a great point about the money-making success of a program and their football team. I mean, it's one of the biggest money drivers that a university has. So you would think maybe you want to put a little resources into it.
You would think. Because they are the bigger generators. In most schools, of course, they've got much larger stadiums, but look at Penn State, look at Ohio State, look at Michigan. Do you know how much money they make in a single game?
Couldn't imagine.
A single game, I would say they probably make more money than Indiana makes all season on its football program. One game.
They probably get more fans for that one game.
Oh,
than Indiana gets all season combined.
You ain't lying. Well, not hardly, but.
Be pretty close. Only 6 home games. 20,000 a game. That's 120,000.
7 this year.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's another thing. They had a great opportunity this season. But I wonder what the most of this has been at a game this year. Hard to tell. But I don't understand not making the effort. And Indiana, as an institution, is not making the effort. That's where this problem lies. It's not with Tom Allen. It's deeper than that. He's handcuffed. Yes, he's inexperienced. And yes, he's made mistakes as the head coach, but that's okay. I can live with that. Because I know he cares. I know he tries. I know that's what he wants, success. But he's handcuffed. Give him some damn money so he can get some freaking assistants that knows what the hell they're doing as far as moving a program. Because this ain't it. 3 straight winning, successful seasons, bowl seasons, to 5-7, to probably 4-8 is not success, in my opinion.
I think everybody would share that opinion with you.
And the thing is, it's not that it can't be there. It can. My God. Just look at Purdue. That's all you got to say. They were where Indiana was right now, and it was turned around in the blink of an eye because they hired the right coach who came in and did what he needed to do.
Speaking of the right coach, JR text in 502-414-1450 if you'd like to do the same. Says Brom will have a losing record when he goes to Louisville next year.
I don't know that he's going to Louisville now.
Maybe not.
I say that only because he's going to be more desired than that. He may end up at some place like Oklahoma. Because
the question becomes, where does he desire to go?
Well, the question becomes, what other opportunities come available that aren't a crap hole like Louisville is right now? Yes, Louisville's home, and it is the perfect scenario for him.
And you can take a lot of pride in turning that around.
Because he's got no pressure. Well, I mean, you can't say no pressure. They bring you in, they pay you $4 million a year. There's pressure to turn that program around.
You're the hometown hero, yeah.
Yes.
Be a little bit of pressure.
There would. But at least he's not coming into a program that is already riding high and he's got to maintain it. He's coming to something there and where people are like, all right, he's coming into a mess. So you automatically buy 2-3 years right there. Bam. You just bought some time. But again, I don't know that he ends up in Louisville. Oklahoma's coach, he may end up, Lincoln Riley, he may end up in Cleveland. Who knows where he may end up going.
He says he won't, but.
Well, they all say that.
Yeah.
So what situation comes open next? Who knows? But what if a Florida came calling? What if an Oklahoma comes calling? Man, you just jumped up into the big time of echelon of football. Bing, bang. Howard Schnellenberger did it. He went from Louisville to Oklahoma.
Yep. The coach.
Louisville is not a destination job, man.
Despite what Louisville fans think.
If Jeff Brom was not from Louisville, Jeff Brom's name would not be getting attached to this job. So that is the only thing pulling him. And again, it's going to depend on what other opportunities are out there. And who knows? They may not let go. They may not be able to afford to cut Petrino loose because that's going to be about a $20 million endeavor just navigating the payouts, the buyouts of Petrino, which is about $14 million.
Something tells me they'll find a way.
Any coach that they have to talk to, there's another, Brahms is like $4 million. So you haven't even gotten to salary or any of that yet, and you're already bumping up to $20 million. So there's that. We got a lot more coming up on the show today. Make sure you keep her tuned right here on Indiana Sports Beat. Terry Hutchens is on the show. Tomorrow, Todd Leary and Steve Risley, both Hoosier former basketball players. But we got lots more coming up right here on Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle right after this. Stay tuned.
Oh, Lord, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh,
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
This hour of Indiana Sports Beat is brought to you by Kentucky and His Premier Truck Center. With locations in Louisville and Clarksville, sales or service, they've got you covered. Kentucky and His Premier Truck Center.
I heat up, I can't cool down. Got me spinning round and round, round and round and round it goes.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this Thursday, November 7th. Trace Jackson Davis needs more time before he makes his recruiting decision on where he might be going. He planned on making it this fall, but in a conversation with Peegs.com, I plan on making my decision in late winter, early spring, he said. What led to this decision is not knowing what I truly want. A decision could always come before then, but right now, that is what the timetable is looking like, quote unquote. His final three, of course, Indiana, UCLA, and Michigan State.
Can you really be mad at a kid for not knowing what he wants?
I'm not mad at anybody.
No, yeah, I know. But, I mean, it's frustrating that he keeps pushing it back, but...
Oh, it's frustrating for people who want to hear.
Right.
And I'm not frustrated in the standpoint because I want it to be a certain way. I'm frustrated because I'm like, okay, well, stop talking about it. I don't want to hear about it.
You're right.
I don't want to hear about Final Four, Final Three, Final Two, Final One. Just do it and shut up.
He moved pretty quickly there for a little bit. Went to the 7, then he went to the 3. You thought a decision was imminent.
Well, then what happens is you get it down to those 3, though. Now you got 3 that are just loving you.
Yeah.
Boy. He's getting that West Coast love. Hey, I'm not being a hater. What I say about DeJuan Jones a minute ago? Gone.
Get
USC
that
offer, I gone. Now, that's not what I see for him. I don't see that that's in his best interest because UCLA's not a great basketball program, and I don't care about the beats when it comes to basketball. I don't understand after all this time how you don't know. Another week ain't going to make a difference. Another week is not going to change how Tom Izzo coaches. Another week is not going to change the success he has and how his program is run and the offense and defense they run. It's not going to change. Been there for however long he's been there, which is a pretty damn long time. But you need more time to determine if he's a good enough coach.
It seemed like...
Archie's not going to change. The defense is not going to change. The offense, you know what it is. You know what it is. That's the thing. It ain't changing.
But
schedule? Really? Give me a break with this crap. Using the schedule as that's the biggest farce.
But, I mean, Trace Jackson Davis is getting this time to watch the teams and evaluate. I mean, he should have a pretty good idea of what each coach and team is going to bring to the table. But
do you know how Archie Miller coaches? You've seen the success he had at Dayton. You know what he did last year already in Indiana. The recruiting.
But that's not to say Trace Jackson Davis has watched all that. Just because you and I
you don't have to watch it all. You know it's there. It's there. The information is there if you want it. Tom Izzo. Oh, he's only got about 1,000 years.
His resume speaks for itself.
Alfred's been at UCLA for long enough. You know it's there. The thing is, this is not an unknown. It is what it is. So that's the thing. That's what's the information that said is being sought and needed. It's already there. It's been there, laying on the table. Look at it at your leisure. But don't act like it's not. There's not enough information there. It's just, the kids are just, they love being loved. Love me.
Text in the show, 502-414-1450 if you would like to send one in. Joker texts in and says, going back to the end of yesterday's show and talking about how good and talented both UK and Duke are, Duke talent plus coaching equals wins. UK talent minus coaching equals loss.
Well, that wasn't a loss. That was an ass beating.
Yeah.
But I got to say, there's two things. Kentucky did not look as good as I anticipated, period. I know Duke added to that, but just overall, Kentucky didn't look that good. But Duke is scary. Let's just be real. My God, those guys are beasts.
And we talked about the NCAA probe a little bit ago and Zion Williamson. It's worth mentioning that Kentucky also had two players mentioned in that. Ashton Hagans, who's on their team now, and then Jared Vanderbilt, who left for the draft last year. They had both talked to Dawkins at a certain point in time. Nothing has been proven yet, but it's going to be interesting to watch as well.
Well, Dawkins is an Adidas guy, and Kentucky is a Nike school, to my knowledge.
Yep. Same with Duke, I believe.
Exactly. The Nike stuff has yet to be revealed.
But there is Nike stuff. If there's anything I can guarantee, there's Nike stuff.
Now, was Adidas the leader of the band? Were they leading the way? Don't know. Sounds like it as of right now. It sounds that way because that's all the information we've been given. But
they just the dumbest with hiding it,
or just the least cavalier. But yeah, the Nike stuff hadn't come out yet. So, but as you see, Kansas, even without Silvio D'Souza, looking pretty good because they got the best players money can buy. Why would you not?
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's Zion Williamson. The fact that he's playing cracks me up. But I would think that they would have done all the due diligence possible, or we're like, hey, there's no way we're going to get caught on this. We're clean. Nobody knows because nothing's come up. Maybe that's the case. Maybe Nike was smart enough in the way they did it that they didn't get caught. Who knows? But you're not going to tell me. There is no way. And I'm a guy who would have bet whatever that Mike Krzyzewski that had no part in anything nefarious. Now, I'm not saying that Duke offered money at all. That's never, ever even been suggested, and I'm not going to do that. But there is no way in hell you're going to tell me that Zion Williamson was going all over the place with his hand out everywhere he turned looking for money, and he ended up at Duke for free.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
It wasn't for a quality education because he ain't going to be there long. So, and you're going to tell me he's going to spurn Kansas and $100,000 to go to Duke for free? Yeah, right.
Not likely.
No, not likely. And then when you have Mike Krzyzewski say of all of this FBI investigation and corruption trial, oh, that's just a blip on the radar. That's not really going on. That's I'm like, whoa, you can't be. He's way too smart to act that dumb.
Right,
that tells me something right there.
Oh, because it's not like this just started. I mean, this has been going on for years and years and years. I mean,
there are freaking FBI wiretaps. These are
right.
Corroborated bits of information, and to dismiss it as it being a blip on the radar, that tells me that that's somebody saying, nothing to see here, folks, move along. Nothing to see here, move along. Yeah, he doesn't want you looking in because
don't go prying.
He's built a legacy on his reputation of winning clean.
It's a lot like Joe Paterno before the whole Sandusky thing.
Yeah, that's a different little different.
A little different, but I mean, same principle. Joe Paterno, one of the best coaches in college football at the time, and then derailed.
Maybe that's not a bad. However different, maybe that's not a bad. Joe Paterno was not taking part, obviously,
Right.
and the things that were going on. But did he turn a blind eye to it? I would have never thought that.
That's the thing with Coach K. He doesn't have to actively be taking part in it.
No, I don't
but
think that he is.
He 100% knows it's going on.
Has to. I've done a 180. Has to know. Especially when you make that comment, oh, that's just a blip. Yeah, blip my ass. $150,000 offers is a blip.
It's a big blip.
You're damn right, it's a big blip me with it. That's a great blip. Blip it right into my bank account. That's what my bank account's a blip. $100,000 is not a blip. What are your thoughts? 502-414-1450.
About to say, try again.
Give me phone numbers. Gotta get our own. But and now the NCAA has been given permission to move forward with their investigation, which is usually a joke.
Yeah.
This is where they usually put on the big stage. Mark Emmert's going to waddle up to the stage in this little Muppet outfit, and his mouth is going to move, and words are going to come out, and you're going to feel a poof of hot air brush by you.
But the good thing for the NCAA this time around is the fact that they don't have to do all that much work. A lot of it's already been done for them.
If anybody can screw up anything, it is the NCAA.
That's true. But, I mean, they've gotten all this evidence sent to them already. That's so much work they've already saved. Now they just got to look into it.
I don't even trust the NCAA when the
I'm
job has been done for them, and it
you.
has been in this case. I know what you're saying, but I have zero confidence in the NCAA because I think that they have zero competence. They have proven to be incompetent time and time again. They take the easy way out. That's why after 18 years of academic fraud at the University of North Carolina, they get away scot-free. Banner's still hanging. I don't see anything happening to Duke. I don't see anything happening to Kansas. Those are their bread and butter programs, baby. I just don't see it. And I think it's sad. I have never been like that. I have completely changed my thinking on it. They're cheating their ass off, and they're going to get away with it. Because the NCAA does not have the balls to do what they should do. Mark Emmert doesn't have the balls to be the leader he should have been. He's a Muppet.
Looks like one, too.
Yeah. That's going to take us into the next break. So make sure you stay tuned. We get a lot more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. Terry Hutchens is on the show today. Hope you're having a good one. We're right back after this.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
Today's guest is brought to you by Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when Mother Nature strikes. BrooksRoofingIN.com. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this Thursday, November 7th. Joined now by Grant Afseth. Covering the Pacers, man. The Pacers have had some big games since we talked last, Grant.
Yeah, they sure have. They, they have struggled against some good teams so far, except the Celtics so far this season. And last night, losing to the Sixers, it was definitely interesting a matchup to think about for future potential playoff implications for sure.
Yeah, they had a great since we spoke last a week ago. Grant covers the Pacers. You can find him a lot of different places. The Kokomo Tribune for one, but they had a game against the Celtics a week ago up in Indianapolis. Victor Oladipo hits a three with 4 seconds to go. Bam, buries it. They win the game, riding high. Hey, we're here. We're going to be we're going to be a team to be reckoned with. And then they struggle against Houston, lose that game, and then boom, the 76ers. That's a little bit of a turnaround.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that I honestly think that the Celtics game kind of gave fans a bit of a I don't know the best way to put it, maybe a misleading belief about kind of where they're at as a team right now, because the Celtics they rank like 29th in points per possession heading into that game. They had a lot to figure out still with how to balance their offensive pieces, and they're not near as good as what at the time is what I think they're going to be. And I think needing a game-winning shot like that is kind of it's not what you want to be able to defeat a team that isn't at their best yet. So, and then when you see that you struggle against the other winning teams, aside from the San Antonio Spurs, that's it's not necessarily an intriguing early season observation.
Yeah, and last night Victor Oladipo, a great night, 36 points in a loss. But and I talked about this last time. They've got to add somebody to that roster to complement him that will put them in a position to where they don't need to hit that last-second shot, that they can win outright in a much more comfortable manner, because they're just not there yet.
Definitely, it's an interesting balance on their roster of pieces where their starting point guard and small forward are not good on-ball defenders. So it makes it challenging to, make the decision to start a guy like Sabonis who could provide like a cohesive offensive impact with Oladipo. And then you also have, so then you need Turner out there for a good amount of matchups. But then when he struggles, having Sabonis out there, is the right call. But it's like a not like a perfect answer ever for the way the roster is currently constructed. So it's like for really a lot of matchup decisions that they have. So I think one thing they could do is use Tyreek Evans more and get him rolling, because that's another playmaker to have on the floor. But ultimately, they're going to have to improve their defensive capabilities before anything else, because Ben Simmons, he was able to really do, there were some plays where they got the best of him, but ultimately when he had space, he was able to do what he wanted to do. Joel Embiid, he, the same thing. There was a couple times where, aside from those two post-ups that Miles Turner struggled against him in the beginning of the game. They did a solid job on him, but he was mostly able to do what he wanted to do too. But so when your best guys sort of struggle like Miles Turner against a guy like Joel Embiid, and then you also have struggling defensive performances against the other components of the Sixers. It's definitely difficult to overcome that, and I think they're going to have to improve their individual defensive capabilities.
If talking with Grant Afseth covering the Pacers from the Kokomo Tribune, Grant, if somebody that you could think of would be the best fit to add to this team, whether it's a wily veteran or a young up-and-comer, who or is that, or a couple of those people that you could see plugging into this team and really helping them elevate their game?
it's there's not a ton of options because getting a athletic impactful wing player who can space the floor and defend is challenging to find. But and you also it's kind of an interesting thing to think about with their roster too, because it's like you don't necessarily want to move a guy like Bogdanovich or Collison right now because they do provide value. It's just that it's not necessarily enough defensive value. So then it's like, all right, let's go out and see what options there are. Those options won't provide unless you're going all in with a consolidation type of trade and just getting a bigger talent who is undisputedly better. But outside of that, and really just like kind of consolidating, it's challenging for you to find a defensive upgrade that isn't going to give you a drop off offensively. And then it's like you can't have a drop off offensively because they're struggling to put up a high volume of points along with the rest of the NBA. But if you are looking for a defensive upgrade, I think at the point guard spot at least, which is an important one to improve since it's kind of a big part of offenses, maybe a guy like a Patrick Beverly would be a good option. But I'll definitely have to think deeper into it and look at more options. But I would like to see beyond this season, perhaps depending on the free agency options, a better defensive wing option as well, because having Doug McDermott and Bojan Bogdanovic as your small forwards, defensively at least, makes that difficult to necessarily match up with teams that have impactful playmaking forwards.
Talking with Grant Afseth, our NBA and Pacers contributor with the Kokomo Tribune. Has there been enough of a sample size, Grant, that the team recognizes, hey, we need to add a piece or do this? And is that change imminent, or is that something that you think they're just going to ride out for a while? Any change expected at all?
I think I expect them to keep mostly the team that they have, I would imagine. I think they'll probably wait and see how how things develop, because they still have to get Miles Turner playing well, and that'll help them, quite a bit, because when you have a guy like that who's supposed to, he's supposed to be a big part of their team, and he's not playing, to expectation. That getting him to play to expectation covers up a good amount of things. Of course, you don't want to have top guys on your team having to cover up other things, if you put it that way. But I think without sacrificing your team chemistry, I think it's important to get your top guys playing to expectation for sure before necessarily thinking about making significant sort of changes, especially with veteran voices with a team that is embracing and having continuity for the first time in a while, because last season they made a lot of changes before they played their first game. And, it's tough to really, see, build the chemistry last year and then have continuity and then kind of try to blow it up again. I don't think they necessarily have to blow it up to be a top 5 or top 4, even maybe top 3 seed. It's just that they'll have some challenges with how they match up with some of those top teams in the East in the playoff series. But I do think with some coaching that they can kind of negate some of that struggle.
And Grant, I look at other teams. LeBron leaves the East; he goes to the Lakers, so he's out of the East. Opens up a nice little void that you think the Pacers can slide right into. But it's not just the Pacers that are looking to fill that void. You got a young Toronto team, a young Philadelphia team, who they lost to last night. But guys on there, they're trying to do the same thing. Is Indiana in danger of letting those guys catch them and sneak by them without making the moves that we're talking about right now?
I think for sure that Toronto right now is a better basketball team because when you watch them play, they have so many modern basketball pieces. They fly around as a unit defensively. And then, Kawhi Leonard, they don't really have a guy that can guard Kawhi Leonard right now. And, Toronto, I don't think they could necessarily, clamp down Oladipo, but, I'm more confident in Toronto being able to slow down Oladipo than I am with Indiana being able to slow down Kawhi Leonard. I think something that would be important for Indiana against a team like Toronto or even a Philadelphia is to not have whenever you have a guy out there who's a catch-and-shoot player like Robert Covington, I think it's important that Bogdanovich is guarding him and that you're not having Thad Young, not being utilized on the ball against a guy like Ben Simmons because there were times throughout that game last night where Bojan Bogdanović tried to stay in front of Ben Simmons on the perimeter, and there was a play in particular that was pretty memorable where he hit him with a really quick in and out and then just exploded past him and dunked the ball, and that's kind of that's not what you want. I would prefer to have Thad Young guard those types of guys, and then because having a catch and shoot player out there for the other team that's kind of a luxury defensively to be able to put Bogdanovich on, but also against that Rockets team he was ball watching quite a bit and got caught, so it's just tough because I think he would do less damage defensively for your team guarding a catch-and-shoot guy, but yeah, I think it's important to have Thad Young match up on the ball against the more impactful guys like Giannis and Kawhi Leonard and like Ben Simmons for a playoff series for sure.
Talking with Grant Afseth, our NBA and Pacer contributor. Grant, one last thing. What going forward for the next week, what are the Pacers looking at? What are the challenges that they're going to face? They've had a lot of home games here of late, but they've lost a couple of games at home, which is never good. But what are they looking at over the next week?
I think they're going to be looking at. I think it could be a tough stretch for Miles Turner because he's been struggling the last two games, and he's going against the Miami Heat next game, and then the Rockets, and then the Miami Heat again. And Hassan Whiteside last night, he had 20 rebounds and 9 blocks, and he scored like 28 points, something like that. And he's been playing very well lately. And the Pacers, they we've been talking about on-ball defense, and when you have the Houston Rockets, it's going to be challenging to be able to kind of do your job as a Miles Turner whenever you have a Harden or a Paul who's able to get into the paint and then dish the ball to a guy like Capella, and then also handle a guy like Capella on the glass is challenging in general. So I think that's something I would watch over the next week, is to kind of see how Miles Turner is able to bounce back, because he's obviously an important part of their team, and it's going to be difficult from a matchup standpoint over this next week.
Absolutely, Grant. Where can they find you on Twitter and elsewhere?
My Twitter handle's my full name, Grant, and then my last name is Afseth. You can find me on my weekly column on the Kokomo Tribune, and also on NBAanalysis.net.
Check it out. Grant Afseth, thank you so much, man. We look forward to it. Talk to you again next week. Have a great weekend.
Oh, you too. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Grant Afseth, our NBA and Pacers contributor. A lot of information there. The Pacers, man, they have an opportunity. We'll see what they can do with it. But a lot more coming up on the show here on Indiana Sports Beat. Terry Hutchens up next, so stay tuned. We're back with more right after this.
But a good time.
Hey, if you're in the market for a new truck or tractor, car, or ATV, you need to be at Hollis Auction Service on November the 10th. Located on Highway 150 in Greenville, just west of Highway 335, Hollis Auction Service also needs items for the auction. If you're looking to sell, call Billy Joe Hollis today at 502-664-1606. That's 502-664-1606. Make sure you're at Hollis Auction Service in Greenville on November 10th. Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this Thursday, November 7th. It's going to get cold this weekend, man. I was last year, I was up at the Big Ten men's soccer tournament up in Westfield, Indiana, and I remember it was Arctic cold. It's north of Carmel, which is north of Indianapolis, and I remember driving through Carmel at a light, looked over to my right, and there was a faucet of some kind, but it was about 2 feet off the ground, a frozen solid stream from the faucet to the ground. That was last year. I'm thinking, well, at least this year it's going to be warmer. Man, been warm, nice, decent all week. But what happens this weekend?
Gets cold.
The blast of Arctic air, of course. Man, I'd like to be playing soccer in that stuff.
Speaking of soccer, Louisville City plays for the USL Championship tonight. I'll be there. Not looking forward to that.
Is that already they're in the championship already?
Championship, yep. They get to host again, second year in a row.
Looking for is that a one game?
Yep.
Wow.
But
looking for a back-to-back titles down in that USL. Right? USL?
Yep, USL. So Louisville Slugger Field was already booked for Festival of Trees or something nobody cares about. So they're having to play at Lynn Stadium on University of Louisville's campus, which
my God.
is almost a benefit because it's more intimate. The people are closer to the field.
But you can't get nearly as many people.
No, and that's been the issue. They had to limit season ticket holders to just their tickets, and then they opened it up to allow them, I think, maybe 2, 3, 4 more, and then they finally got to the point yesterday where they're playing Phoenix. So Phoenix isn't going to bring a lot of people, so they started selling Phoenix's tickets. But
what's
still,
it hold, like 5,000?
Yeah, at the most, yeah.
And they play at Louisville Slugger Field, which holds what?
They average about 10.
I was going to say double that?
Yeah.
Wow. That's, man. Well, they're building their own stadium, so.
Yeah, and it's going to be sweet. Yeah, Lynn Stadium holds 5,300.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There's that. But, Westfield, I assure you, holds less than that. But
where do they do that in Westfield? At a complex?
Yeah, there's a soccer complex up there. Or it's not just a soccer complex. I think they have indoor gyms and everything.
Nice.
I haven't been inside, but it's a gigantic complex that they have up there. But obviously, it's quite suitable for big time play, which it's a great field, and they have that set up, the Big Ten up there. Looking forward to that. Indiana taking on Maryland at 1:00 tomorrow up there. And then Saturday, of course, they're taking on Maryland again in football. So playing them in football twice this weekend, just different styles.
So you're right off after the show tomorrow then?
Man's been that way all week. Rolling. Got to get the coverage in. Hoosier Nation, got to keep them. You got soccer at 1. You got basketball tomorrow night. I don't know what time it is. I haven't looked, but it's probably like 7-ish. The next day at noon, you got football. And then the next day, again, you got the Big Ten Championship. So a lot going on this weekend. A ton. As we wind down, the football season winding down, of course, talk about Indiana. If they don't get a win, their season's over. They're sitting at 4-5, I think, right now.
Basketball game, by the way, is at 8.
Oh, man. Another late start. An 8 p.m. start on a Friday night.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, that'll be something. But hit us up on the text line. Let us know what you're thinking. What are starting lineups up for debate? What do you think the starting lineup is going to be? That's an ever-changing thing to me.
Man, I saw a good one last night. Let me try to find it.
But what I would like to see and what I think is gonna be are two different things. Just from what I'm learning in the press conferences, whatnot, Archie's really likes. I think he likes that 3-guard set.
Yeah.
I think he likes having 2 point guards out there. It's like having 2 quarterbacks. You don't know who's going to throw the pass.
That's the other night. That's what you got from Romeo, in my opinion. I mean, he was, and especially that first half, he was more looking to pass than shoot.
Well, and I think all of those guys are getting to be that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was. He Archie talked about that. He certainly was. He was playing that way more in the beginning, although he scored 17 points in 17 minutes. But so now you've got when you got Romeo doing that, now you got 3 guys out there basically, 3 point guards. It's like a juggling act. You need the circus music behind it. You just don't know where the ball's coming from. It's like, man, that is causing some problems for the defense. You got to keep your head on a swivel.
Speaking of causing problems for the defense, the lineup I saw last night, I don't remember where I saw it, but some people were floating out starting lineup combinations. My favorite one I saw was Juwan, Justin Smith, Evan Fitzner,
that's
Romeo, and Robert Fennessy. That is a lineup not a lot of teams are going to have length over. I mean, that's a big lineup.
Yeah, but
like you said, Archie's more about the small lineup. Let's run and gun.
Yeah,
but those guys can all run. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I think he likes having that. He likes having that third guy with the ball, man. I think you're going to see a lot of that when Al Durham can come back. I mean, Al Durham's sidelined right now. So if you get Al Durham back, you may see Al Durham, Devontae Green, Romeo on the court at the same time, or Rob Fennessy, Al Durham, and Romeo on the court at the same time.
What's the status of Al? Have you heard anything?
No.
I can't imagine it was anything serious. There wasn't anything leading up to the season.
I don't think any of them are serious. Some lingering things, although Race Thompson has probably been out more than anybody for the length of time.
Just a case of you didn't need him.
But, it's plus this time of the year you do not at all want to exacerbate any kind of a ticky-tack injury that can turn into something.
Right.
Like a groin, things like that. Let me tell you, a groin injury, if you don't get that thing healed, will nag you the entire season.
Yep.
And that is not an injury you want to deal with. It just takes your legs away. It takes your jumping ability away. It takes the rebounding effort away. It takes you the ability of getting your legs under you for the shot. Little bitty things like that. So it doesn't matter what position. That's not an injury you want to mess with. I'm not saying anybody has that, but that was last year the case with Colin Hartman, I remember.
Yeah.
Those are little nagging injuries, though. So they want to get them healthy, and they're fortunate because of the depth they have, they can do that. The only negative is they're not able to get this offense into the sync that he wants to get it into, the rotation that he wants to get it into. But maybe that's something good, too, because it gives you practice throughout the year of just being able to, on the fly, insert this lineup and plug and play. It's just plug and play, man.
Well, and that's what I was telling somebody yesterday is Indiana won on Tuesday night by 49 points, and they had 3-4 guys, rotation players, that are expected to play significant minutes this year that didn't even play. So that if you can find ways to succeed without having to use all the guys at your disposal, now granted, you likely want to use all those guys, but yeah, that's going to be big for Indiana going down the stretch.
Absolutely. We'll see how it works out, but they've got to get better offensively. They're not a great offensive team. So, joined now by the great Terry Hutchens. Terry, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just talking about Indiana, how offensively they've not really been able to get into the flow yet as far as the rotation, because Archie has had it's been 2 or 3 guys that have been kind of sidelined a little bit. Right now, you've got Al Durham and Race Thompson and Jerome sitting on the sidelines, but they got Devontae back, but still not getting that offense in the complete rhythm that I think he would like to get them to.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think that was probably one of the most interesting takeaways from the other night is that you're looking at this team and you're wondering how that rotation is going to play out, and then thinking in the back of your mind, well, I mean, when you add a guy like Al Durham or Jerome Hunt or Race Thompson, just how that's going to change the dynamic that you already have. And, I mean, the hardest part about it is is you look at that group, and there's really not, somebody that really jumps out that you're thinking, well, he's the guy that's going to lose his minutes. It might be Jake Forrester. It's probably Clifton Moore for sure. But, you're still talking about a rotation that's, 10, 11 guys anyway. And, in one way, that's a real exciting possibility for Indiana basketball fans. And I'm sure it's something that is kind of good news, bad news for Archie Miller, because he has to figure out how to keep a lot of people happy.
Absolutely, and it's hard to do that when you don't know who you're really going to have. But one thing that has come up that's also maybe a positive negative is the play of Rob Finney because of the opportunities he's been presented. Not only has he played, but he's kind of excelled and really seems to be growing in that position. And Archie he likes to have three guards on the floor a lot.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see a lot of Rob Finney. I don't think there's any question about that. I think that he's a guy that even if the injury situation hadn't presented itself, I have a feeling that he's the kind of guy that would have emerged anyway, just because he does it on both ends of the floor. And, that's, the most important thing, I think, for Archie and his staff, and he's talked about that a lot of times, is that, you have a pretty good feel for what all these guys can do offensively, but it's the young guys that then are able to turn around and show you that they can do it on the defensive end. Those are the guys that you realize are going to be the ones that are going to be, seriously and significantly in the mix right from the start. And that's what you've seen from Rob Finney. You've seen it from Romeo for sure. I think you'd like to get a little bit more of it out of Demezy Anderson. And then I'm sure that when Jerome Hunter's on the floor, that'll be a big point of emphasis as well.
And something that came up the other night in the press conference, they asked Archie about free throws because they shot 56.7% in this game the other night, which he kind of, for the first time ever, I thought he kind of blew that question off, saying, it's just you either make them or you don't. And I'm like, this has been a constant pattern for this team and a problem to where it cost him games last year, and it seems like even though this year it's already kind of maybe showing itself again to be the case. And I think it's something that is a little more serious than just you either make them or you don't.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'll disagree with you on that one. But, I know what you're saying, but at the same time, you've seen Romeo play a bunch of times. Romeo's not a 50% free throw shooter, is he? No, and so it had to have been an anomaly. He missed 6 of those free throws, so if he makes the ones he usually makes, then, I don't know. I just think that, so often, now, part of it is concentration. Part of it is maybe the opponent you're playing. At least you're hoping that from an Indiana standpoint. Now, you got a couple of guys in there that are going to struggle, though. And when you get drawn Davis at the line and, even Justin Smith a little bit, some of the bigger guys, I think more what he was saying, at least as the way I took it, was that, what, Romeo's going to be fine, and if Romeo makes his free throws, that percentage is, 75 or whatever as a team, and he can work with that. I just think that, one game and, it's hard to start thinking about patterns based on one team. And if you want to make a connection and say, well, it was last year too, and this year, well, you got 7 new guys this year, and that's going to dramatically change your free throw percentage anyway.
Absolutely. Talking with Terry Hutchens. And Terry, switching gears to football quickly, Indiana takes on Maryland this weekend, and basically a do-or-die game for them. If they lose this game, their season is mathematically not over, but for all practical purposes, the season is lost.
Oh, I don't agree, Jim. I think they'll go up to the big house and beat Michigan without a problem, knock them out of the college football playoff, come back and play a Purdue team that hasn't been doing really anything of late except for beating teams like Ohio State and Iowa. But, no, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's kind of an intriguing matchup in a lot of ways now that the Durkin thing is behind Maryland. And you have a guy like Matt Canada, who was on the Indiana staff for a whole bunch of years, 6 or 7 years, with DiNardo and with Hep and with Bill Lynch. And I think that it'll be interesting. Maryland was awful last week. I think they had 100 yards of total offense. But they also had the built-in excuse of the whole Durkin thing had happened throughout the week, and nobody really expected them to respond. And Michigan State's a pretty good team and really good against the run. So, yeah, I'll be interested to see. I mean, Indiana's had some interesting games with Maryland in recent years, had a kind of a shootout with them last year and got beat. I think it might have been 42-39. I know Indiana went to Maryland a couple of years ago, needing to win a couple of games to get to a bowl game, and did right before the bucket game, and then won the bucket game. So, but no, it's a huge game, and it's one of those games that it can put you in a position to be in position. So, and it's all, if they can find a way to win, it's all going to come down to the bucket game, and then we'll see what happens.
Sounds great. Terry Hutchens, you can find him at Indy Sports Hutch on Twitter and throughout CNHI papers around the state. If he's not in your paper, he should be. Have your local editor find him for you. Terry, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Look forward to talking to him again next week. That's going to take it care for us today. For Justin Kalen, this is Jim Coyle. We'll be back tomorrow. Todd Leary and Steve Risley on the program. Stay tuned tomorrow. Indiana Sports Beat. I'll see you on the radio.